It is really with a profound sense of humility that I give God thanks for blessing me with this singular opportunity to address you on this day of special significance and opportunity for the Team Unity government and for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. In the process, I beg your leave to recognize His Excellency the Governor General, Sir S.W. Tapley Seaton, our distinguished Prime Minister, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Sylvester Harris, my other, feel happy, feel free to do what you want to do. It's your program. It's your program, please. My other distinguished colleagues, the Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Lindsay Grant, the Honorable Eugene Hamilton, Minister with responsibility for agriculture, etc. Our distinguished Attorney General the Honorable Vincent Juicy Byron, our Senator and Junior Minister in the Ministry of Health, the Honorable Senator Wendy Phipps, and our Senator Akila Byron Nisbet. I also like to recognize other distinguished persons in the audience. Of course, our first, or rather our only living national hero and first Prime Minister, His Excellency Dr. Kennedy Simmons. Members of the National Bank Board and the management, that's rather chairman and members of the National Bank Board and management, chairman of the Social Security Board and its management, chairman of the SIDF and members of its council, the chairman of the TDC group of companies and its members, board members and management, our distinguished ambassadors. I thought I saw our good ambassador from Taiwan, George Shu. But all our distinguished persons here, I bid you a very pleasant afternoon and welcome you to the finance closing, or should I say, the signing of the loan agreement for the second cruise pier construction ceremony. This is indeed a momentous occasion for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Don't you think so? In approximately 18 months, the Port Zante Harbor would be transformed with the addition of the much-needed second cruise pier to accommodate our growing passenger traffic, which is now heading towards 1.5 million cruise passengers per annum. This addition would result in our lovely nation being able to accommodate not one, but 3 Oasis-class vessels, 3 of the largest vessels afloat today. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this is foresight on the part of your Team Unity administration. But truth be told, we already had a vision And we are expanding that vision today because the vision of our only living national hero, the Right Honorable Dr. Sir Kennedy Simmons, it was his vision who approved back in the early 1990s the massive undertaking of the reclamation of some 25 acres of land to accommodate this cruise pier complex. And we ought to ask Dr. Simmons to stand, sir, and take a bow. Dr. Simmons. This was a vision of Sir Kennedy and his government back then in the early 90s. Some people said it would sink. But here we are today, adding another pier. And without trying to blow my own trumpet, I happened to be the CEO when the first pier was commissioned in 1997 or thereabout. And as God would have it, I am here today as the minister with responsibility for Scasper to commission the second cruise pier. We are positioning St. Kitts and Nevis as a destination which can accommodate the growing sizes of cruise vessels being constructed. We can continue to boast of receiving and our ability to receive the largest cruise ship vessels in the world. Few countries can boast of this, and we as a people of St. Kitts and Nevis should be proud. The journey towards getting to this point of financial closure has been a long but necessary one. Today, in the true spirit of accountability and transparency, your team Unity Government is letting you know precisely what financing arrangements we have put in place for the construction of the much improved and much needed second cruise pier. This is the people's business. We were very transparent during the construction contract and the signing of same. And we intend to do likewise this afternoon with this financing contract. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Scasper has explored all options that were available to finance this project and has utilized the expertise of Ernst & Young to secure financing proposals from 8 institutions, locally and regionally, including St. Kitts and Nevis, Trinidad and Tobago, and Barbados. These institutions, including CIBC, First Caribbean International Bank, the Republic Bank of Trinidad and Tobago, NCB Capital Markets Barbados, St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank, St. Kitts and Nevis Sugar Industry Diversification Foundation, the TC Group, the Social Security Board, and others. Ernst & Young also considered and obtained a proposal from Bazarian International for venture capitalist financing from the United States. Following a review and a risk analysis of all proposals, the best option was determined to be a syndicate arrangement with all local players. And I say all local players. To this end, in September of 2017, a loan in the amount of US $48 million was secured to 1, construct the much improved second cruise pier. 2, to undertake upland development, and 3, to procure a harbor tug for Scasper. The financing syndicate players and the contribution are as follows. St. Kitts Nevis and Anguilla National Bank, $34 million. The Social Security Board, $7 million. SIDF, $5 million. TDC Insurance Company Limited and TDC Financial Services Company, $1 million each. That's $2 million total. The loan will be for a period of 15 years at a rate of 4.5%. Where can you get a rate like that any other place? This rate, I'm advised, may be reviewed after 7.5 years of the loan. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, there has been much talk about the local concentrated risk. And I wish to inform my people that the risks, such as those associated with natural disasters, liabilities, etc., associated with this project, are mitigated by the appropriate insurance coverage from Lloyd's of London and Island Heritage Insurance, all Category A insurance companies, and not in any way, shape, or form related to the providers of the financing. I want to also add that a syndicate arrangement, from what I've gleaned over the last couple of months, is a complex one. Hence the engagement of reputable and sound legal firms to draft and vet the credit agreement, security contracts, and other supporting documents to effect this loan was absolutely necessary. And I'm speaking about firms such as Mitcham and Benjamin. Mitcham, Lady Concy, and your partner, I think I see here. Please give them a round of applause. Representing SCASPA. Firms like Oric, a New York-based firm, along with Gonzalez and Parry, representing the lenders. And I ask them, please, Tony, to stand and take a bow. And of course, the CCC Council, I don't know if the council is here, had a third eye, especially in matters relating to the construction contract. These legal teams were ably supported by financial professionals and other members of SCASPA and the administrative agent being the National Bank. At last, my people, after 5 months of negotiations and drafting and review, we are here today to execute the financing documents which we are confident are legally and financially sound. Ladies and gentlemen, shortly we would witness the end of one of the most important processes to wit the financial closure. But I would hasten to add that it signals the beginning of another more important process, which is the commencement of the construction of the much anticipated second cruise pier. Discussions about this pier started under the former administration way back in 2012. And negotiations with Cashman ensued in April 2013. The former administration struck a deal which included the transfer of ownership of our second cruise pier to J. Cashman Inc. for 30 years. Yes, they were not selling, but transferring this critical asset to a foreign entity for 30 long years. But God moves in a mysterious way, and his wonders to perform. And in July 2014, the deal fell through, to use a colloquial term. The records reflect, however, that as part of the agreement, SCASPA had already spent over $300,000 of his own money on the Cashman Inc. plans and designs, monies it was supposed to be reimbursed when construction commenced, but which never happened. In addition, J. Cashman made a claim against SCASPA for an additional $750,000 for plans, studies, and other costs it apparently incurred. It is against this backdrop, ladies and gentlemen, your Team Unity administration had to right the wrong when it came into office in 2015. For that reason, we restarted from a clean slate this second cruise pier construction project, utilizing the appropriate, qualified, and experienced persons in the finance and legal fields. That is why we are here today, successfully accomplishing what the past government was unable and or failed to do. Where they failed, we have succeeded as a Team Unity administration. And strange but true, ladies and gentlemen, the SCASPA Board of Directors at that time, never deliberated on the deal to transfer the assets of SCASPA to a foreign entity for 30 years. Never deliberated. Because the records reflect that the then chairman, Mr. Carol Evelyn, wrote to his members 4 days before the signing of this agreement in 2014. He said, "This agreement has not been brought to the Board of Directors for approval. I met with the CEO on Friday and reminded him that this agreement must be approved by the directors. The agreement is with the lawyers and a final draft is expected on the 17th of September. We will not like to stall the signing of this agreement. However, we must fully understand what we are getting into over a 30-year period. Please, you have concerns, please let me know." The day before the signing, on September 19th, the then board chairman wrote, "Members, I am still very concerned that we are not provided with a legal opinion on this document." That was then. We, as a government, sought the advice of the Board of the Authority. And today I am proud to report that the Cabinet received a recommendation for its approval from the SCASPA Board to accept the Canada Commercial Corporation, CCC, a Canadian Crown agency, as preferred bidder for the design and construction of the second cruise pier. And representatives from the CCC are here with us, and I ask Luke and his party to stand and get a wonderful round of applause. And I can also state for the record that the Board of Directors, under its chairman, sent their resolution on the 11th of March 2016, sent another resolution on the 31st of March 2016, which read that the board accepts the Canada Commercial Corporation as its preferred bidder for the design, finance, and construction of the second cruise pier, with JV Driver, a Canadian construction company or group, as the approved supplier to CCC. The board chairman and its members are here. I'll ask them to stand and be acknowledged as well. Chairman Don Moncampo, members of the board, I see them around. I see Alwali someplace. The board deliberated and they made the recommendation Government had nothing to do with it. Thank you very much. So your team unity government continues to open doors, create opportunities, and provide service to all our people under this government-to-government arrangement for this second cruise Pier. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, under this agreement, the Canadian government issued a guarantee to the government of St. Kitts and Nevis that the state-of-the-art second cruise pier would be built in 18 months, fit for purpose. The passenger fees and the interest payments will all remain here within our federation. It goes back to SCASPA and to the local players in the finance syndicate. This can only stimulate our local economy. Under the former arrangement, the model would have sent the money overseas to J. Cashman Inc. Furthermore, we have arranged with and have received a commitment from the CCC that as far as possible, the persons on this new pier construction project would be employed from our local pool of labor. That means jobs, 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 and more jobs for the people of this federation. We have been advised by the CCC that recruitment would commence as early as next week. The kickoff meeting among the technical teams would be held later this week. As we have on the ground present today, as I said before, as well, Chevy driver Richard Jones, perhaps you can take a bow as well, the contractor. And I want to mention for full disclosure as well, that SCASPA has retained engineering consultants, ADB, to work alongside with the Director of Public Works, Cromwell Williams. I'm advised that the lender's engineer is E.F. Douglas and Associates, with Principal Consultant Errol Douglas. Mobilization is expected to start next month, March, and our seabed breaking expected to commence in April 2018. In conclusion, therefore, I believe it's imperative to state that neither the government, the ministry, nor SCASPA had any role, underline, any role whatsoever in the selection of contractors or subcontractors, or indeed in selection, or rather indeed in the procurement of materials and or services for this project. I want to repeat that. The government of Team Unity had, and SCASPA, had absolutely no role in the selection of contractors, subcontractors, or the procurement of materials and or services for this project. This is exclusively the responsibility of CCC. And I want to challenge the media here today. Luke Alari is the regional president for CCC. As a good journalist, get as close as possible to Luke, and he will explain to you the procurement process and the selection process in this regard. I am advised that CCC is committed to high standards of business. I am further advised that as part of the CCC process to evaluate and screen suppliers and potential projects, CCC has in place a robust and thorough due diligence that is designed to ensure that CCC establishes and ensures the effectiveness of internal controls, ethics, and compliance measures in CCC transactions. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, cruise tourism and tourism generally is of economic importance to the development of the Federation. It provides employment and educational opportunities, increased quality of life, improvements in infrastructure, and promotes development and economic growth. Construction of this second cruise pier will no doubt impact positively on the grassroots economy. In particular, as passenger expenditure will have a cascading effect within our economy, which begins with tourists spending money with taxi drivers, hair braiders, craft vendors, and in restaurants, which then permeates throughout the rest of the economy. Finally, I find it imperative and want to thank a number of organizations and people who were instrumental in getting us to this juncture. My list, I can forewarn you, is by no means exhaustive. I must first thank His Excellency, the Governor General, for his wise counsel from time to time when I needed it. I must thank the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Harris, and members of our entire cabinet for their full support for this project. Lenders in the syndicate, the chairman of the board, and its general manager, Donald Thompson, from National Bank, Chairman Kelly, and members of the board from TDC, the chairperson and members of the SIDF Council, the chairman of the board of the Social Security Board and its directors, our legal teams, as mentioned, Mitcham and Benjamin, and I must single out Anthony Gonzalez, who at times, Anthony seemed rather rigid, but that's why he came first in his class, I understand, and that's why he's a Queen's Counsel. But I think he was not just looking out for the lenders, and let me be careful, he was not serving two masters, but he really was looking to ensure that we all together get the best deal for SCASPA, and by extension the best deal for St. Kitts and Nevis. And Tony, I must thank you. Words can express how I feel about Lady Constance Mitchell, but I know I'm permitted to say, Concy, you are a quiet storm and you make things happen. Thank you, Concy. Good to meet you from Oric. To Luke from CCC and your successor, I want to thank you as well. I do want to apologize as well. We got word that our ambassador, High Commissioner rather, Marie Logo, had a conflicting engagement, and she sends her best regards, but just couldn't be here today. SCASPA, its board, its management, I must thank them from the bottom of my heart for the hard work they continue to expend throughout this process. And I think it would be remiss of me if I did not ask Tafida Stewart, who worked alongside with SCASPA, former financial controller. Tafida, stand and take a bow. You are a towering strength, Tafida. I just recognize a former footballer there, my neighbor, Shine Maynard, that's you. Good afternoon to you, sir. And I must thank the people of the Federation for your continuing support and belief in your team unity administration. It took a long time in coming, but we have come thus far through enhanced due diligence and transparency. We have come this far by faith, and there is no turning back now. And I'm reassured by the good book in Proverbs, which states, and I said it before, God guards the paths of the just and protects those who are faithful to him. Let us all be faithful to our beloved country, St. Kitts and Nevis. Let us be faithful to our beloved country, St. Kitts and Nevis. And finally, I must also recognize in the absence Ernst & Young. I spoke with Gina Matthew this morning, who was unable to attend, but Ernst & Young did the value for money analysis, did an independent opinion on this project proposals, and did also produce a confidential information memorandum which will guide SCASPA and guide the government for the rest of this decade in terms of development of this project. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless you. Thank you very much.